My father said to me, I want you to come to work with me one day. And I said, okay, when? He said, tomorrow. I lived in a one-bedroom apartment. I drove a Honda Pilot. I was always under the radar. I believed in consistency, and that's what really put me to excel. Then I worked as a waiter at night. I worked in delis. I worked anything to keep going. I just constantly worked. And I would tell my children, it's okay to make a mistake. The one word that really changed my life was discipline. What happens at 45 and a quarter? How much do I sell? And I'm like, I'm still putting orders in the freaking book and trying to get my math up. And it wasn't like it is today where it's all electronic. And I said to myself, I want to build technology that gives me the ability to see into the future.
Hello everyone, today we have an exceptional guest and I want to really thank him to be with us. It's Steve Kalayjian. It's the legend on Wall Street, been in trading for so many years, and today we're gonna try to find out all the secrets. Just to give you a little bit preview, when we meet downstairs, both of us are like a drug addicts, like two crazy guys. Talk about right away trading and everything else. Steve know the place I used to work for, and he's also, we started to talk about the equities and S&P and everything else. We went a little bit crazy.
Yeah.
Steve, how are you?
It's nice to meet you.
Yes.
Thank you.
Steve Kalayjian.
Thank you.
We'll start from all the way from the bottom, and we're gonna go all the way at the top.
Sure.
As a kid, regular kid, the family education.
I went to high school, and when I was 16 years old, my father said to me, I want you to come to work with me one day. And I said, okay, when? He said, tomorrow. I said, I have school tomorrow. He says, you're coming to work with me. I want you to see what I do. I said, okay, take a day off from school. Why not? Hopped on the train with my father, and he said, all right, I want you to go have breakfast at this place, and then when you're done, come across the street. And my father worked on the American Stock Exchange. He was a member there. And when I finished my breakfast, it was about 9:15, I walked across the street, and back then there was very little security. I walked up to the guard. I said, I'm Jack Kalayjian's son. And they said, Jack Kalayjian, paging Jack Kalayjian. And I look up, and my father was at the top of the stairs. And I remember counting as I was walking those 31 steps. And as I was walking up, I saw my father in his blue smock, and I started hearing the roar of the floor. And people running around. And I went up there, I gave him a big hug. And then I started hearing a language I never even heard of before.
You were close with your father.
He was everything to me, yeah. And I hear Ak Nov Dis. I said, Dad, what's the Ak Nov Dis? He says, October, November, December. I said, whoa, this is going to be a tough day, I said to myself, So, and then within about 2 hours, I started learning the hand signals, because on the American Stock Exchange, they had hand signals back then. And I learned the whole alphabet.
More than 30 years.
Yeah, I'm in the industry 36 years, so it was so it was pretty intense, and I just felt like, whoa, I loved the day. This was amazing. So when I got home that night, he said, well, what do you think? I said, well, I love baseball. I maybe want to be a surgeon one day, but I kind of like what you do all day long. He says, okay, well, keep it in the back of your head one day. And little did I know, I went right into that industry right after.
Going back to your father, obviously you grew up in a family where your father was a trader.
Mm-hmm.
So how was that in a family? Because a lot of traders, and especially the one from the Pete's, Amex, New York Stock Exchange, used to be the Chicago, the crazy people.
Oh, yeah.
I had a few times when I used to work for the WorldCo, we used to have access to New York Stock Exchange because of the Scott Bruin, who had access because he was ex-governor of New York Stock Exchange. So I saw these people, and some of them was crazy, triple bypass surgeries, drugs and everything else. And I figured it out. It's a crazy industry. So how was for you around your father and in the home?
My father was a execution broker for Prudential, and so there was open outcry. Especially back then, there was an index called the XMI index, and he was always in there. And he would do spreads, and he would do outright buys of major contracts for clients. So, but when he came home at night, he would, kind of just like chill out. But I could see the stress was on him. It took a toll on him. The every day running in and screaming in the pits the way it was back then, as you know, whether it was the Amex trading floor, the New York Stock Exchange, or the 30-year bond pit, or the E-mini pit, or any of the open outcry on the various different exchanges. So it was stressful. And I remember like the movie Trading Places, when they were in, you see the guys coming
Orange juice, of course,
orange
yes,
juice,
yes.
frozen orange juice. And well, I kind of miss those days, to be honest with you.
Right.
It was a real
Not electronic trading right now.
but this is fun too. But that was kind of special, I have to say.
And when your father started, how old?
He started like in his as a page. He started at 25 years old, making I think like $70 a week.
Coffee bringer.
Yeah, coffee.
That's what they
as
used
a
to call them,
yeah.
coffee bringer.
And that's how I started, believe it or not. Just because my father was who he was, and when I started on the American Stock Exchange in 1983, I went out to go get lunches every single day. I had no special treatment. And
But when you grew up, as your father was like tough with you or no?
Oh yeah.
My father is very tough.
Very, very hard. And especially when I started in the industry, I would come home and and he would say to me, let me just tell you, Rome wasn't built in a day. This is a journey. You have to learn every single day. And I wanted it faster than it came to me, but he was very, very hard. He taught me significant character, integrity, and he was very proud of his last name. And he just said to me, Armenian. And he said to me, you're going to do it my way. He was very, very strict. Let me tell you,
That's good. That's probably you made it, because with the soft parents, it's very hard. When the parents are tough and they give you a direction, it's much easier to go by the direction.
My father, it was very, very strict on me. There was some very tough times.
But you said you were friends.
We were best friends, and I loved him. And even that he's not with me today, there's not a second or a day that goes by I don't think of him. And he made me what I am today. Without him instilling the values that he taught me, I wouldn't be who I am today. And that's what I try to do with my son and my daughter
amazing.
now.
So you were 16. You finish in school. Next.
So once I finished high school, I went to a prep school to play football, and then my vision was
American
to play
football.
Yeah. And I actually I love the game of baseball, so I went out on a big tryout, and believe it or not, they really liked me a lot. But some different things happened along the way. I shifted gears to football, and then after a year of prep school, I went to a college and I got hurt, and I remember calling my father, and he said, "That's it, come back.
Career is over."
Yeah, I hurt my lower back really bad because I played with such passion and reckless abandon. I
You
just
didn't
really
even
threw
think about the security.
Yeah, I just didn't. I just tackled like it was the last tackle ever, And I came home. I went to a community college, and I came home one night, and he was sitting on the couch, and I took night courses. I took my books and I threw them over my head. Whew. Over my head, went 20 feet. I hit the window. I had this big, beautiful window in the condo, and the window, whoa, I thought it was gonna break. He screamed at me like, "What's wrong with you?" I said, "I just got a D in economics." I said, "I can't take it no more." I said, "This is not right." He said, "That's it. You're getting a job on Wall Street tomorrow." So I went with him to work, and
So you quit college.
I quit college, yeah. And I only have, I think, 11 credits to my name. So I'm really like a needle in a haystack. And I went to work, and the next thing I know, he says, "See that building? I want you to go to this floor and go see a gentleman named Peter Kellogg." So I walked in. I said, "I'm here to see Mr. Kellogg."
Is a Spearlitz and
Yeah,
Kellogg?
Spearlitz and Kellogg. He was my father's good friend. And
It's a big firm.
yeah,
Huge firm.
monstrous.
One of the biggest market makers.
Yeah. And then next thing I know, he said, "Who are you?" I said, "I'm Jack Kalayjian's son. My father asked me to come see Peter Kellogg." He said, "That's me." He says, "Marge, get him a badge." And that was it. And I started making, I think this is accurate, my best friend, $150 a week.
So it's 36 years ago.
Yeah.
I came in 1993. I was making the same money.
Yeah.
150 a week.
Then I worked as a waiter at night. I worked in delis. I worked at anything to keep going. just constantly worked.
So the base, for example, you start, you got a batch, everything. Obviously, didn't have a special education. You had a D in economics. You drop out of the college. I mean, all we have is your father.
Yeah, just my father.
So, how basically you begin to get the basics?
So what happened was is that when I then reported the next day onto the American Stock Exchange trading floor, my father pulled me over to the side, and I was just like a runner, like a coffee lunch type coffee guy. And then a couple of days later, he says to me, "Come over here. I can't teach you." I said, "What?" He says, "I can't teach you, but you're going to go over here, and you're going to meet Frank, and Frank's going to teach you." I said, "Why can't you teach me?" He goes, No. Well, this ain't going to work. I'm your father. I want Frank to teach you." So the next day, I went over to see Frank. And he says, I did know him. And he says to me, "Okay, here's the deal. Forget that I know your father, right? You're going to come here every single day from 8 to 8:30, and I'm going to talk to you. I'm going to teach you."
In the morning, 8 to 8:30 in the morning. Okay.
And he said to me that, however, here's the one condition. If you don't know, you better tell me you don't know. Don't keep yesing me to death. Are we clear? I said.
If you don't know, you ask.
Right. And so Monday goes by, you get it? Yes. Tuesday, yes. On Wednesday, no, Frank, I don't get it. Okay, no, I don't get it. Third time, no. On the fourth time, I said, "Frank, what the blank don't you get? I don't get it."
Right.
And I screamed at him. He said, "You're going to make it," like that.
Going back to Frank, first year,
Mm-hmm.
the progress. I mean, if you start trading already, I don't
No,
know for how long you were around.
I was then I went from a coffee runner, per se, to a front end clerk, which.
Execute some orders.
Yeah, well, it's every so often I would be the specialist. So if you were the specialist, I was your clerk, and I would, give names
Put the
out,
trades in, yeah.
whatever. And then I went over to the New York Stock Exchange and was a specialist clerk there. Then went to a wire clerk.
I mean, you went to New York Stock Exchange after
After the American.
how long you were there?
About a year later, and then I was on the big board for many years, and then from the specialist clerks, I was in some of the biggest names: Chevron, Merck, some of the very, very big names, Sterling Drug, American Hospital, back then. And you're talking where you sometimes be looking out into a crowd of like 40, 50 people
with the orders,
throwing orders at you, and specialists grabbing you and saying, "What happens at 45 and a quarter? How much do I sell?" And I'm like, I'm still putting orders in the freaking book and trying to get my math up. And it wasn't like it is today, where it's all electronic. And but and U.S. Steel, I remember one time it was, I think, a couple million shares offered at 30, and the specialist says, "I'm going to go to the luncheon club and have lunch." I'm like, "Okay." And
what do I do with that?
He says to me, if anything comes in to buy at 30, just stop it, and then just stop. Don't let it trade. Next thing I know, a guy walks in about 20 minutes later, Steel, 30 bid for 50,000, 30 bid for 100, 30 bid. I said, "Woof," and I bought I think I bought a couple 100,000 for the firm. I say, "No, stock's trading 30 and a half, 30 and 5/8 specialist." There's a crowd like you wouldn't believe. One of the governors was standing on the chair, and that's how big the crowd was. And the owner of the firm grabbed me and said, "Tell me you bought stock for us." I said, "Yeah, I bought a couple 100,000. Don't worry like that, And
So it's the first little success. When you started already trading, you and your father were communicated about the market.
No.
No. Oh my God.
No.
No. Don't talk about
No.
the business.
No, it's a great story.
But did he ask you,
No.
Steve, how you doing?
No.
No.
I will tell you that my father, it's a great story. I mean, I'm so blessed to have, I never, ever, ever, ever came home at 5:30. Actually, one day I was riding, I love my father so much that I actually rode the smoking car with him, and I would be like this on the car, and I couldn't take it. We took the 4:45 train, and then he said to me one day, "What are you doing?" I said, "What?" And back and forth. He says, "Finally, get off this blanking train. I want you to go back downtown. I want you to go out. I don't want to see you home till 11 o'clock every single night."
Enjoy.
I want you to meet 3 new people every single day. I'm like, oh my God, this man's insane. I'm exhausted, right? And I did, and I didn't, and of course I listened to him. But my father, it's a great question because he never talked to me about my trading. He knew the reputation I had in the industry.
Hey, you were doing well.
Yeah, they knew I was like, I was very, very
Superstar.
Well, I don't know. Well, but he called. I came home one day and the phone rang, and I never came home at 5:30. I picked up the phone. He says, "Stephen, Daddy." I go, "What are you doing home?" I go, "Oh, I'm home." He says, "Well, let's have dinner." So I met with him a beautiful August day. Swear to God, it's a true story. And we were sitting in his booth. The sun was piercing in. He was with his wife, and he said, "I want to tell you." He said, "Thank you." No, he says to me, "I'm very proud of you." Yeah, and then I said, "Thank you very much." And he said, "Thank you for never letting me repeat myself to you, and never tarnish our last name."
I have tears in your eyes.
Yeah, well, it's everything, So, but no.
So you never talk about the market, huh?
Never talked about them.
But obviously he probably saw a nice car, house, and everything else.
No,
So he figured.
I lived in a 1-bedroom apartment. I drove a Honda Pilot. I was always under the radar. I mean, like, people wanted to interview me, put me on television. I'm like, no.
Oh, I know. At one point you were in CNBC. They called you
later on.
Fox News every year.
Later on, as I'm building Ticker Talker up, and no, I just wanted. There was an old saying. I have ADD times 6,000, right? So I never read the newspaper. One day I bought, I think it was the News or the Post or something like that. And I swear, the craziest things have happened to me in my life, right? I open up the paper and I see something. I don't know. It must have been like a horoscope or something like that. I just read it, and it said, "The great victories in life are often won in a quiet way." I said,
It's me.
"That's me.
It's me.
That's me.
What's the astrology sign?
I'm Aquarius.
What month is that?
February 10th.
Oh, like my father.
Your father's February 10th?
Yeah, February 20th.
Oh.
I'm a Virgo.
Oh, okay.
Best traders.
I think Aquarius.
It's you, of course. Absolutely. Your regular day. How does it begin? How does it end? When? And
I wake up around 3:30.
in the morning?
Yeah. I'm up early. I make a pot of coffee. I walk my doggy. Get ready. I don't read anything. I don't. I do some paperwork. I check my emails and send out a bunch of text messages, and I get to the office rather early. Make sure I have all my ducks in a row, like get my day plan. Make sure my calendar even before and or after the markets, and then 8 o'clock. Thing we just start.
How much you sleep?
Oh, I sleep about 4 to 6 hours. I'm in bed. I get sometimes I'm in bed by 10, 11 o'clock at night.
But still, 4 hours is enough for you?
Yeah, I mean, but then probably on the 6th, 7th, or 8th day, I just crash. Boom. And I'll sleep like 10 or 12 hours. But, yeah. I mean, I have such a passion and adrenaline for this industry. One of the things, I have no regrets in my life, but I do wish I was like 10 years younger, because I want that extra 10 years more to really help people and teach them. And that's why I built Ticker Talker too. And that's,
Yeah, it looks like you have a high testosterone level.
well, I mean, like,
You look good weight.
yeah, I just lost 40-something pounds too.
Wow.
Yeah, I feel great. That also has energized me a lot. But no, I think that there really, I got to tell you, I mean, when you look back and you say how blessed you've been in this world, and in many ways, yeah. I return everybody's phone call. I talk to everybody. My phone blows up. I don't not just talk to somebody. I always answer. I go, "Hello, who's this?" And this is so and so from South Africa. This is so and so from California. Like, hi, because I'm very transparent in everything I do, and I'll spend 15 minutes on the phone with them, and I'll invite them to a one-on-one session, and I'll just start teaching them, and It's funny, the 15 or 20 minutes goes into maybe 40 minutes or something like that. But it's really unique. It's a great feeling.
I want to go back 30 years ago
Sure.
plus. When you were learning, what is the key elements that you pay attention when you were learning and how you were learning? Because you understand, you were in an environment and everybody is different. As a buyers, sellers, holders, anyone else, there's a lot of people, a lot of signs, a lot of sounds and everything else. How to concentrate, because don't forget, there was a lot of guys like you, but 90% of them never made it, and you made it.
So I think one of the key words in my life, it was consistency was number one, but that was hard because you have to learn before you can get to be consistent, right? But the one word that really changed my life was discipline. As an athlete, I was very disciplined. I ate right, I worked out, I didn't fool around with any substances or anything like that. I was very like an arrow, But I was working for $2 an hour back then. That's what the minimum, $2.10 was the minimum wage. I saved $3,000 up. So think of it though. I had worked like 1,500 hours to save up $3,000, right? So I opened up a brokerage account, and when I was on the 40 Amex and I became a specialist clerk, there was a Dow stock called American Can. Now, the stock traded on the big board, New York Stock Exchange, and the option traded on the Amex because they couldn't trade on the same exchange. So I saw the stock. I don't think it was in the 50s. I said, "Oh, I'm going to go buy." So I picked up the phone. I called my father's friend. I said, "I never forget this trade as long as I live." I said, "American Can, buy 5 Feb 50 calls, 2 3/4, like that." So there it goes. I just bought 5 contracts at 2 3/4. Well, there goes, almost $1,400 of my money that I already,
of course, bought the options.
And then, what do I know? That there's premium, weekends kill you, this, that, and everything. So
time value,
right.
Of course, spreads,
so
and everything else.
Plus, if the stock goes down, you're going to get killed, right?
You're going to lose.
Because you're buying a call, right? I said, "Oh, you're betting the stock's going higher, right?" So I started watching, and the stock starts going down. So I buy more, goes down. I buy more, I go buy
average down.
Right?
You know what they're saying? The margin and average down kill more Jews than the Hitler.
Well, listen to this. So next thing I know, I literally was on a Friday. My head was in my hands like this, and there was a screen called Quotron, and I remember reading "The Lazy Dog Jumps Over," and I remember somebody patting me on the back. I turned around. It was like 4:45. He said, "Hey kid," I said, "Yes."
Margin call.
No, I was practically, the investment was gone. I was holding these contracts. He said, "Go home, enjoy your life. You can't turn these machines back on." Just like
in the movie.
Yeah.
I
swear.
turn those machines back on.
Turn them on. So, next thing I know, I just can't believe I worked all these hours and all this money has been gone. But so a week before expiration, the stock on that Monday shoots up a couple of dollars, and by the end of the week, it shot up about $10.
Up.
So I sell these. I pick up the phone at 3:45. I sell. I'm in the money. I sell these options. As I'm hanging up the phone, I see my father, and I see a tear in his eye. He said, "Are you out?" I said, "I'm out." And he said to me, when he walked on the exchange floor Monday, he found a penny faced up. He reached over, picked it up, and made a wish that I won't lose any money. So he said, "What did you learn from this?" So I said, "Whenever you have a losing position, you look for a penny faced up." He said, "No, you idiot. You never average down.
When in doubt, get out."
When you're wrong, you're out."
Absolutely.
Preservation of capital. So even when I lose, I really am hard on myself, and I want to know why I lost, whether it was news related or something that.
Yeah, but if you lose, it's just a losing trade.
Right. Next. So I never harp on it. I just come at it like an animal. Like, if I ever get stopped out, I'm like.
You take
"Whoop."
personal?
No, I just come back with like an intensity, like I could eat steel. Like get out of my way.
It's probably this came from sport.
Yeah, well, the
Okay,
competitiveness, of course. But But people hear it in my voice too, and they know, ooh, look out. At this stage now, it's even more that I love giving back and teaching and helping people. And there's no greater feel at the end of the day than my phone blowing up and reading the great comments. And
I have one question I'm
Sure.
afraid to ask you.
uh-oh.
Because I know the answer.
Where are we going
I know the answer.
Where
No,
are
no, no.
we going to lead after
I know
this?
the answer.
Well,
Do you have any hobby?
well, as I'm getting
Besides
older,
trading, of course.
well, I mean, I love watching my kids when they play their
It's
sports.
different.
Yeah.
Family is
A
beyond,
hobby?
yes. Hobby, it's something.
I used to like playing softball. I don't do that no more. I do exercise.
How you lost 40 pounds?
Oh my God, I was 250 pounds. Like
How many?
250.
I was 248 in 2001.
29 weeks ago, I got it down to a science.
6 months.
Yeah, a good friend of mine I was with. I was in Florida. And I was at the Palm Beach airport, and I have arthritis in my left knee, and the pain was so excruciating I couldn't bear it no more. I wanted to get a saw and chop my knee off. And I have a high tolerance for pain. I got hit by a car. I lived, and I mean, I survived that. And so that getting hit by a car didn't even come close to this pain I was getting. And the 3-hour flight home, I was in agony in row one. I got my bags and said, "That's it. I'm going to change my life." And the person, good friend of mine, said, "You got to go on the keto, but not just keto alone." I said, "What?" "You got to do the intermittent fast with it." So
That's what I do.
I said, "That's it." I picked 3 to 9. I limited bread, pasta, starches, carbs, sugar. Out, done.
Listen, you have to have something bad in your life. What it is?
What it is? I don't know.
I mean, you have to have something. Some people smoke
Oh.
cigars. Some people.
Once in a blue moon, I like sipping my Johnny Walker Black.
Whiskey.
That's scotch. I
Scotch.
love my scotch. I love my scotch. But I don't drink and drive, and I sit when I know I'm not going somewhere. Like when I'm at dinners in the city, I preferably drink water.
But you see the beautiful part about you, which is not that many people in this industry, that you're a people person. It's very
I love
important.
people.
It's very important because being 36 years in trading and seen so many stories and everything else, still a lot of people. I mean, it's amazing, honestly. I know a lot of guys in the industry as well, and all of those people. When you start saying trading, no, I don't want to talk about.
I know this sounds.
leave me alone.
I know this sounds crazy, and my phone blows up. Really. I return everybody's phone call, email, or text. I don't believe in not responding to somebody. I don't have an ego. I feel very humbled and blessed every single day. So why am I going to act like some pompous what? That's not who I am. I believe in not only am I representing my company, right? All the good employees that I have and who make this vision and dream come true. But if I'm the face of the platform, I'm not going to be disrespectful to stuff. Somebody's reaching out to me.
I figured out you were the same 5 years ago and before the Ticker Tucker.
Even then.
That's what I'm saying. It's very important thing.
I mean,
the situation did not change. That's the most important thing.
Yeah, my father once said to me, when you reach a certain age in your life, you're never going to change. So I said, "Dad, what's that age?" He was 25. When you're 25 years old, and one day you're never going to, this is who you are.
And don't forget where you're coming from.
I never did. Never did. Never.
It was a real pleasure.
Thank you.
It was a real pleasure.
Thank you.
Yes, I'm looking forward for Ticker Tucker.
Thank
You don't have to break my hands with
Thank
Steel
you.
Traders. I'm going to come to Connecticut. And beyond, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. I know you don't do interviews, but thank you.
Thank you.
I really appreciate it.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. Guys,
Thank
we
you.
just had a phenomenal guest.